For we have in our court many officials who are more deserving of title and office as far as ecclesiastical honor is concerned, and they are provided with divine service even greater than ours. In fact, our steward is a primate and king, our cupbearer an archbishop and king, our marshal a king and archmandrite, and our chief cook a king and abbot. Everybody serving in the this is the letter of Prester John. I mean, everyone serving in the kingdom of Prester John is a king. Unless you know there's levels to this king business and the Prester flow. And on that account, our highness has not allowed himself to be called by the same names or distinguished by the same ranks. Now, you can't just call me king, of which our court seems to be full of these kings. And therefore he chooses preferably to be called by a lesser name or inferior rank on account of his humility. We cannot at present tell you enough about our glory and power, but when you come to us, you will say that we are truly the Lord of Lords of the whole earth. In the meantime, you should know this trifling fact, that our country extends in breadth for 4 months in one direction. Indeed, in the other direction, no one knows how far our kingdom extends. If you can count the stars in heaven and the sand of the sea, then you can calculate the extent of our kingdom and our power. That's one amazing kingdom that's coming out the legend and its sources by Keegan Brewer. We got that up. We got that up. ThaWaDa, make sure we had a copy in the drop library at 432thedrop.com. Password is 1234 to get through the door. Yeah, I mean, this is where we're getting the Prester John letter. Crusade text 27. And they know we talking nights. They know we talking nights. And they know we talking knockers. What it do, Prester? I see you holding your towel. Khan of Khan. El Preta. Rid Ethiopia. Abyssinia. What about these dogs? What about these dragons that are so playful that they act like dogs? What about them? Yeah, man, you remember. All this is part of the same Prester John letter. It's just so long, many people don't have all of it written down. But, we got this, time and time again, talking about the cavern of dragons in the land of Prester John. Towards the south in that region, a certain place of ours at which the world ends, which is called the Cavern of Dragons. What's this got to do with Antarctica, boss? It is long and wide, excessively difficult, and most severe in severity and difficult, with a deepness and depth that is most deep and most cavernly and full of secret places. Indeed, in this place there are infinite thousands of dragons, which the residents of these surrounding provinces guard with the greatest diligence. So you're guarding dragons, lest any wizards from India or elsewhere are able to steal one of those dragons. For in fact, the princes of the Indians are accustomed to having dragons at weddings. Dragons at the weddings, my night. and at other banquets of theirs, and without the dragons they do not consider the banquet to be complete. Say it again, boss. Without their dragons, they ain't got no celebration. Dragons are always present. Just like the seraphim in Isaiah 6 singing, Holy, holy, in the presence of HaWah. Without dragons, they do not consider the banquet to be complete, and just as cattle and mule herders are accustomed to humanize the horses young, to teach them and tame them, to call them by their own names, to place bridle and saddle on them, to ride them wherever they wish, so too these men have custody and command of the dragons in the land of Prester John. The dragon commanders humble the same dragons by their incantations and magic, humanize them, teach them, subdue them, call them by their own names, place bridle and saddle on them, ride them wherever and wherever they wish. Every year, these dragon people release to our magnificence for tribute 100 men, dragon masters, masters of the dragon, Dracan masters. Khan, 100 dragons humanized in this way, which are like cows amongst these men, which are like cows amongst these men. And when the men play with them admirably by leading them here and there by the head and tail, the dragons are like dogs. Mm. Truly, these men with their dragons are our couriers when it pleases our clemency. So they playing with the dragons by the head and the tail, just like doggies, dragons. And when it pleases the Prester, desiring to know all the news from every part, we send them with those dragons flying through the air, through every climate of the world. So how they all get the letter of the Prester? How did they all get the news of the Prester? They didn't need no airplane, they had dragons, my noggin. Among the other things that occur miraculously in our land is a sandy sea without water. Now we're talking San Banyan, right? The waterless sea that's supposed to be like a demarcation line between these certain group of lost tribes, and this, they're kind of in exile. They can't cross this Sabbath river on the Sabbath, right? And some say it turns into these flames. They can't cross it anyway. But it's a waterless sea that still got some fish in it, according to Lost Tribes and Promised Land by Ronald Sanders. So indeed the sand is moved and swells into waves, in imitation of every sea, and is never calm. This sea cannot be crossed by any means, and therefore it is impossible to know the nature of the land beyond it. So you got tribes beyond this magical sandy sea. And although it may be entirely devoid of water, nevertheless there are found by the bank on our side diverse species of fish. And this again is corroborated in Lost Tribes and Promised Land by Ronald Sanders. Most pleasing to eat. So they got fish in the waterless sea that's pleasing and tasty to eat, which are seen nowhere else. 3 days distant from the sea are certain mountains from which a river of stones descends, and similarly without water it flows through our land to the sandy sea. So you got a river of stones without water. You got a sandy sea without water, but it got fish. It flows for 3 days out of 7. Small and large rocks slide down, and they drag wood with them to the sandy sea. And after the river enters the sea, the stones and wood vanish and do not appear on the other side, nor can anyone cross it while it is flowing. A crossing lies open for 4 days only. And some say it flows 6 days and rests on the Sabbath. So they call it the Sabbath River. I'm just thinking about how these letters are going out, and it gets more mythological, right? Now you got waterless seas, you got dragons, all in the letter of Prester John. Oh, this is one of our favorites, man. Let's get a piece of this. The History Guide Lectures on Early Modern European History, Myth of Prester John, historyguide.org. All right. So this is coming out the Sir John Mandeville flow. So, you got a lot of witnesses to this Prester John land. Let me get it bigger. This Emperor Prester John holds full great land and has many full noble cities and good towns in his realm and many great diverse isles or islands like America, like the Indies. For all the country is like India superior, is devised in isles or islands for the great floods that come from paradise that depart all the lands in many parts. And also this Prester John has under him many kings, many islands, and many diverse folk of diverse conditions, mixed multitude. And this land is full of good and rich and not so rich as in the land of the great Khan. Right? So this is John Mandeville writing about this Preston land, but he can't piss off Genghis Khan. So Genghis Khan is at this point, he got the Khan, right? Or, he got some portion of the Preston's land. He's still, hearing about this rich ass land. So John Mandeville's like, look, it's rich, but not as rich as your land, great Khan. For the merchants come not thither, nor are so commonly for to buy merchandises as they do in the land of the great Khan, for it is too far to travel. And on the other part, in the Isle of Cathay, right? So you're talking about India, you're talking about Asia, you're talking Cathay, you're talking Cathay, India superior, the land of Ind. Why would Prester not be in India superior? Why would he be in India inferior? And Cathay's right here. And China's right here. Mexico, Florida, boss. Tangul, where the Genghis Khan Prester John war first popped off. We're talking Upper Canada to North America. You see how you can cross Greenland all over, right? To Scotland and Ireland and the Isles of Britain. You think it's play? Do you think it's play? And on the other part, in this island of Cathay, men find all manner of thing that is need to man clothes of gold, silk. You got golden clothes, silk, spicery, all manner of avoirdupois, AVOIRDUB or POIS. And therefore, albeit that men have greater cheap in the Isle of Prester John, natheless. For many places of the sea be great rocks of stones and a diamond. So here we go with this river of stones. That of his proper nature draweth iron to him, and therefore there pass no ships that have either bonds or nails of iron within them. And if there do, anon the rocks of the adamants draw them to them, that never they may go thence. I myself have seen afar in that sea, as though it had been a great isle full of trees and buscalia, full of thorns and briars, great plenty. And the shipmen told us that all that was of ships that were drawn thither by the adamants for the iron that was in them. Wait. Okay. And of the rottenness and other things that was within the ships grew the buscale and thorns and briars and green grass and such manner of things And of the masts and sail yards, it seems a great wood or grove, and such rocks be in many places thereabout, and therefore dare not the merchants pass there, and if they know well the passages, or else that they have good loads men. And also they dread the long way, and therefore they go to Cathay, for it is more near or nigh. And yet it is not so nigh, but the men must be traveling by sea and land 11 or 12 months from Genoa or from Venice, or he come to Cathay, and yet is the land of Prester John far by many dreadful journeys. And the merchants passed by the kingdom of Persia, back to Persia, here we go, and to go to a city that is called or clept Hermes. For Hermes, right, we talked about that Thoth situation. The philosopher founded it, and after that they pass an arm of the sea, and then they go to another city that is called Golbach, Golbache, and there they find merchandises and of the Popinjays, Popinjays. I spell it for my knockers that's listening. They might be at work, you know what I mean? So I just spell it for you so you can imagine. As plenty of men, great plenty has man found here of geese. And if they will pass further, they may go sickly enough. In that country is but little wheat and barley, and therefore they eat rice, honey, milk, cheese, and fruit. The Emperor Prester John takes always to his wife the daughter of the great Khan, and the great Khan also in the same wise the daughter of Prester John. So is this why Genghis Khan expected Prester John to give him his daughter to wife? Because, clearly this great Khan needs the daughters of the Prester to be Arab propers, to be, what they say, how they say it, to be genuine Arabs, to be proper. They have to intermarry with genuine knockers, right? Just like Ishmael intermarried with the tribe of Gerhum, and Gerhum is the son of Katai. Kara Katai. Katai is Cathay. We just talking Cathay. Ka. We talking Heber, Quivera, Ka. Let's get a little more. For these two be the greatest lords under the firmament, under the dome, Ana. In the land of Prester John be many diverse things, many precious stones, so great, so large that men make of them vessels and platters and dishes and cups and many other marvels. We're talking marvel, blue marvel, and many other marvels be there that it were too cumbersome and too long to put in scripture of books. So that's why you don't even get this in a script. It's just too long. It's too cumbersome, man. But of the principal islands and of this estate and of this law, I shall tell you some part. Oh, this Prester John is a Nestorian, not a Christian. Stop it. And a great part of his country also, but yet they have not all the articles of faith as we have. They believe well in the Father, in the Son, the Holy Ghost. Man, yeah, all right. Well, who's the firstborn son? Maybe they believe in the real firstborn. Psalms 89, King David flow. Holy Ghost. Oh, maybe they talking about mama. We're talking about wisdom. And they be full, devout, and right, true one to another. And they set not by no Barrett's, nay, by cartels, nor by deceits. And he hath under him 72 provinces, and each province is a king, and these kings have kings under them, and all be tributaries to Prester John. Many marvels, man. And they go into the San Benyan again, right? Sandy Sea. For in his country is the sea that men call the Gravelly Sea. Gravli. That is all gravel and sand without any drop of water, and it ebbs and flows in great waves as other seas do, and it is never still, nay, in peace, in no manner season. And no man may pass by that sea by navy, nay, by no manner of craft, and therefore may no man know what land is beyond that sea. So they say some tribes are in exile over there, and albeit that it have no water, yet men find therein on the banks good fish, full of good fish, of other manner, kind, and shape, that men find in any other sea, and they be of right good taste and delicious to man's meat. And 3 days' journey along from that sea be great mountains, and out of which goeth out a great flood that comes out of paradise. We're talking Orinoco, cities of gold. And it is full of precious stones without any drop of water. It runs through the desert on that one side, so that it makes the sea gravelly and bears it into the sea, and there it ends, and that flowm runneth also 3 days in the week, and bring with it great stones, and the rocks also therein, and the great plenty, and anon, Ania, as they be entered into the gravelly sea, they be seen no more, but lost forever. In those 3 days that the river runs, no man dare enter it, but in the other days man dare enter well enough. We gotta talk more about this sandy San Benyan Sabbath sea. And I talked about that Susa, as they had Sasanin or Sasan. Here it says he dwelled commonly in the city of Susa. And there is his principal palace that is so rich and so noble that no man will trow it by estimation. And so here comes this Susa flow, and they were just giving us this Sasan, go get the last drop, picking up where we left off, where we got cut off, but picking right back up. So, now we're just connecting a little bit of this Sasan flow, man. And the Sasan flow connects directly with the Sasan Ania flow. You did. Named after the house of Sasan. You see them dragons. We're talking about the dragons in the land of the Prester. Flying animals. The Shah is like the Khan. They say Sasan is a person. Some say a male, some say a woman. This is where you get the Susan flow. But you got a great warrior and hunter and a Zoroastrian high priest. Well, Zoroaster flow, we got to get back on that one, because that also has a very similar Prester flow. High priest of Pars. Whoa. So Persia, we still talking Persia. Or Pari. Pars is Persis or Persia. Is Pars. Pars on the map. Where's Asia? You have Parias, right? Parias, like Pars. Pars is Persian. huh? Is Mexico. We talking Persian, Susa, Susa, Zoroastrian high priest of Pars. And now we see, we talk Pars, we talking Persian. And they're putting it on the maps as Paris, Pars, Paris, or Paris. I said it's Paris, originally Old Persia, or Paris, or Paradise, or Mexico. Okay, what else they talking about? Alexander. A lot of this Susa flows out of this Alexander flow as well, and a lot of this Prester flow connects to Alexander as well. Fabled stories, territorial kingdoms, you know what I mean? So I got this up, man. We definitely gonna have to start looking a little deeper, back into the Alexander flow as we go. And let's talk about a popular fable, man. All right, I'm belly flopping to this, right? So, just clearing the name of Con David, man. It's a daily venture, man, to keep the blasphemy and the false witnesses, settling in their translations, how they turn reality into some vague opportunity to tear down the character of the priest king. Oh, was he gay? Was he kissing Jonathan, man? Let's talk about this, and we're gonna go quickly. I ain't even gonna spend too much time on it. It's gonna be so simple, even a baby can understand. The claim is David states that Jonathan's love was more wonderful than a love of a woman. Jonathan also loved David, stripped in front of him, kissed him, all these things. Okay. Let's get to the bottom of language here before they get their hypersexual Christian translations to bear false witness and smut up the name of King David. And not just David, but we talked about Queen Tamar before as well. Uriah flow, right? Okay. So the response that this particular evidence is kicking is David had multiple wives and concubines, 2 Samuel 5, and a lust for naked women like Bathsheba. Okay, man, we're going to talk about that. Moreover, Jonathan was also married to a woman. This doesn't fit with the narrative that David and Jonathan were attracted to each other. Additionally, these passages do not teach that David and Jonathan were sexually attracted to each other. So get this hypersexuality out your mind, ball. Let's talk about these words and verbs like kiss, right? Because they keep translating KISS, right? A close look at the proposed passages. Jonathan loved David, 1 Samuel 18. This Hebrew term for love, or ahah, is never once used to describe some same-sex attraction or homosexual acts, right? So he loved him. They said, oh, Ahab, he had Ahab. That was like his best homie, his best friend. All right, so you got to understand when King Saul is being, when he dies, you know what I'm saying, and all these things are happening, or when he's looking to hunt David, it's bothering Jonathan, right? It's getting in the way of them just popping off and just having their friendship and growing, like his dad is trying to kill David, right? The term used for sex in Hebrew is the Hebrew word known as yada. That's funny. Yada me. All right, man. So the covenant that they make is one of loyalty, not lust, man. Loyalty. Just like Genghis Khan and Prester, or Genghis Khan's father was known to be the blood brother of Prester because of the loyalty covenant they had to protect one another. Until Genghis got so covetous that he wanted the crown. He wanted the Khan. He wanted to be a David. This loyalty between David and Jonathan is supposed to be forever. It's a covenant. We read that this covenant refers to protecting each other from their enemies. 1 Samuel 20, verse 16. Like the Rorschach test reveals our inner thoughts rather than the objective reality. A sexualized reading of this text says more about the interpreter than the text itself. And that's #facts. Get out the gutter, man. Get out of your sick mind bone and get out the mind of a hijack. Let's keep going. Moreover, throughout this book, many people love David, including Saul, all Israel, Michal, and all of Saul's servants. So that same, adjective of describing love is also being used from Saul. It's also being used from all of Israel, all in 1 Samuel 16 and 18 and 18, chapter 18. So Jonathan stripped in front of David. Okay, let's talk about this. 1 Samuel 18. Jonathan didn't strip himself of all his clothes. He merely stripped himself of his robe. This is in contrast to how David loved, or how Saul loved David in 1 Samuel 16:21. But David rejects Saul's clothes for battle. He's trying to get in battle time. It got nothing to do with no sexuality or homosexualities or any other smut and false witnessing they want to put on David and Jonathan. Let's keep going. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? David and Jonathan kissed each other. Okay, 1 Samuel 20, verse 21, verse 41, We shouldn't project our cold Western view of physical affection back into this ancient Near Eastern or Far East culture. It was common for men to greet each other with a kiss at that time. Consider just a few examples. Now, before they just say greet each other with a kiss, we got to talk about this terminology, this word used that's being translated as kiss. But if they're just looking at it in terms of a kiss, father to son, you know what I'm saying, or, they're translating it out of something coming from embracing, to embrace, to lock up with each other, like a handshake, or like a handshake embrace. Like you ain't seen the homie in a minute, you might hug the naga, hug hug the homie, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't none of that, you know what I'm saying? That's how they're translating this kiss terminology. But even in the same way they're using that word kiss, and we'll get more into it, Isaac kissed his old son, right? Genesis 27. Laban kissed his nephew Jacob, Genesis 29. Laban kissed his grandchildren and daughters, Genesis 31. Esau kissed his brother Jacob. Joseph kissed his brothers. Jacob kissed his grandson. Joseph kissed his dead father. Moses kissed his brother Aaron and his father-in-law Jethro. Samuel kissed Saul. Absalom kissed everyone who approached him in 2 Samuel chapter 15, verse 5. David kissed an old man Barzillai in 2 Samuel 19:31. Joab kissed Amasa in 2 Samuel 20. And the New Testament believers should greet one another with a holy kiss, right? Romans 16, Corinthians, and all that stuff. Holy kiss could be a kiss on the kissing a ring, you know what I'm saying? Kissing the hand, I don't know, but that's if you are chilling with the kiss flow. Chilling with the kiss flow. And we're going to talk about this kiss flow as, just getting into the lexicon, man. So, David and Jonathan kissed and wept together, but David wept the more. This does not refer to some make-out session. You hypersensitive, hypersexual, hijack city, gutter-minded mother sucker. but to affection for each other during a time of sadness and despair. There was a lot of heavy emotion going on, right? David's life is, on the gurney. His life is in the balance, right? He has to, figure that out. Saul's life is in the balance. Everything's happening. So before you start thinking of something erotic, my naga, you're looking at a sad time, in a time of desperation. The soul of Jonathan was knit to the soul of David. These are soul brothers, man. Soul brothers, man. They say blood is thicker than water. Hey, but sometimes you got some thick ass water. And the water was flowing as a friendship and a brotherhood with David and Jonathan. And this is why, David's seed is always protected under the house of David. And so is Jeremiah, Afghana, right? Old Testament scholar Michael Brown asserts that this Hebrew expression is never once used in the Old Testament for a sexual or romantic relationship. So this Hebrew terminology that they're getting this kiss from, this knitting of a soul to, is never used talking about sexual or romantic situations, man. All right, I got to clear the name of the con. Then we're going to, talk about the Uriah flow. Did he kill a man, or are we just talking about an alternate version of his story? And in reality, you got the Uriah, Queen Tamar, and him trying to supplant the kingdom. And he had to be put down because he was covetous like Genghis Khan and trying to take the kingdom, trying to take the Khan, Uriah. King David Salsland, or David the Fourth, had to come, to the aid of Queen Tamar. And they popped off together. Now, that's a lot different than this, David slaying Uriah to get Bathsheba. But Bathsheba is Queen Tamar. But let's go. Yeah, man, you surfing away. In fact, the Hebrew expression is very close to the phrase used in Genesis 44, verse 30. Genesis 44 describes a father's love for his son. So you got deep, masculine Ahah, father for son, a brother for brother, best friends, you know what I'm saying? Jacob's love for his son Benjamin is also described in the same way. Jonathan's love was more wonderful than a woman. A. Anderson notes that the love of women may also include a mother's love for her children and that of a wife for her husband. That's deep Ahah. He's like, man, they got more connection, more Ahab than a mother could have for her son, than a father could have for his son. That's the deep bond of brotherhood they share. The Hebrew love may denote HaWah's love for his people. So he concluded, as we conclude, man, David and Jonathan wasn't no freaky going on, man. Get out of your hypersexuality. Come on home. All right. It's sad that the interpreters or translators cannot see the beauty of a same-sex friendship. Yeah, they in the mind of a hijack, hypersexualized lens rather than reading our sexuality through a scriptural lens. All right, man. All right, so, that's how he approached it. And again, just running through it. All right, this is First Samuel out the 1917 Tanakh version. Just digging on 41, verse 41. As soon as the lad was gone, David arose out of the place towards the south, fell on his face to the ground, bowed 3 times, and they kissed one another. This is how they translate it. And they kissed one another. Or did they embrace? And David wept more. And Jonathan said to David, "Go in peace, for as much as we have sworn both of us in the name of the Creator." You can't swear on no freaky in the name of HaWah. You can't swear on nothing, abominable in the name of the Creator, man. This was a sworn oath in the name of HaWah, a brotherhood. The Lord HaWah shall be between me and you, and between my seed and your seed forever. And he departed, he arose and departed. Jonathan went to the city. So a lot was going on. Verse 33, Saul cast his spear at him to smite him, whereby Jonathan knew that it was determined of his father to put David to death. And this was what all this crying is, because they had to separate. David had to David had to lay low for a minute. Jonathan, he knows Saul was mighty. He said, man, this might be a wrap for my bro. So that's one translation. Tanakh 1917. Now, here's the fun thing. Right? When you first click on the lexicon on BibleHub.com, just like the same thing, get the previous drops with bite, the serpent, brazen serpent, whoever it bites gives you more life, you know what I'm saying? And they translated that, into, some other version of bite first, right? Nashak. Very similar root names, actually, right? So this is Nashak. Now, this bite, you're going to get all the drop. You know what I'm saying? This is where we, come to the understanding that we're talking about a stinging, not just a bite, but a sting, like a fiery sting. Because this dragon, whoever it breathed that fire on, you got life, not death. It gave you life. The stinging of the fire, the breath gave you life. But nah, they didn't give us the shot at first. Now, when we went to the lexicon about this fiery serpent, what they give us? What they give us, boss? Who is bitten when he looks at it shall live. They give us 5391A. So I'm coming to a conclusion that when they put these A's next to this, man, many times they're trying to deceive us or bring us to some limited version of this translation. Like, now we just got bite, bitten, and creditors. That's all they're going to give us. They're going to lead us to here. You're not going to go further and say, wait, let me take that A off, right? We're not going to normally do that. And when you take the A off, that's when you get into stingingness of things. Nah, shock. This is when you get all the drop. Right now you can look clearly. You mean stinging, boss? As a serpent, in parentheses. So what's it really saying? Make you a fiery, whoever stings with that flame, this fiery, because it's a fiery. Whoever it stings with this flame gives you life. It doesn't even say make you a serpent. They put that in parentheses. It just says make you a fiery. We know the fiery connects with the burning ones or the seraphim. Don't they even give us seraph? the lexicon. Yeah, man. To Moses make a fiery. It doesn't even say serpent. It's a fiery. And so you know they're talking dragon because it says seraph. And seraph is the highest orders of the angels. Seraphim. With 6 wings singing holy, holy, right? In Isaiah chapter 6. Seraph. So they didn't have to put serpent or dragon. We can come to the conclusion that we're talking burning ones when you talk seraph. That's how we went further. But when it went to bite, it just left us with that limited lexicon breakdown. Then we had to go and take the A off of the nah, shock. And we got to do the same thing with the kid situation, man. We got to do the same thing with the situation. Nah, shock sounds a lot, man, like what we digging on. Nah, shock. Nah, shock. Nashak. And they kissed, right? So here we go. They give you 50, they give you 5401A. Nah, shock, right? Come on, man. Let's go. Nah, shock. But look how they spell it here with a Q instead of a K. Instead of Nashak. Nah, shock. Now we got this kiss situation. Nah, shock. Crazy, right? This is what they give you when you're looking up this kiss, man. In the lexicon. Follow me now. You know what I'm saying? They try to jam up our neck, but we stay patient. We got that water. We got that water. Let them figure themselves out, man. They try to cut us off, cut me off, cut us off from being a nation, man. Ain't that something, man? So how can both of these be in the shock? You got to kiss. You got to shock Nashak to bite. Yo, this is crazy. Like, I really can't make this up, man. How do we stumble on the same damn verb almost? One is H5391, one is H5401, but this time instead of a K, they have a Q. And here we go with the 5401A. And all they're going to give us is kiss, 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 just like bite, 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 right? Then we go back without the A to the same word, the shock. So what's the difference between the kiss flow, the bite flow, the sting flow, and what's this the shock about? Without the A. And just for kicks, there's a let's do this one first. So all right. To fasten together, arrange in order. So this is getting a little different than just some hypersexual behavior. Brown Driver Briggs is breaking it into a fastening together or arranging in order, not of smacking of the lips, kiss, but something that is being arranged in order, fastened together. If me and you came together and did a elaborate handshake, we fastened our hands together, we did an elaborate order to our handshake, that would be considered a nashak. but they want to translate it as a kiss, right? In the Syriac. But we're just talking about a fastening together, arranging in order, right? Okay. And this arranging in order and fastening is happening in a lot of different scriptures. Halal HaWah, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Now check this out. Verb, exact meaning uncertain, probably either handle or be equipped with, man. So you went from fastening, arranging in order, to handling and being equipped with. So what is John making him equipped with? Ain't he getting ready for war? Ain't Saul on his head bone? Chronicles 12:2, equipped with the bow, right? Using the same Hebrew words, verbs, to be equipped with. A primitive root and the Strong's exhaustive nasak, idea of fastening up. Compare kazak and kashak. To kiss, literally or figuratively touch, also as a mode of attachment. To equip with weapons, my naga. Uh-oh.